Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, the 3rd of May 2024. You're watching Morning Brew on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. Whoa, who was up all night then? We got Paul Ewan saying, round two, where's the rest of you slackers? Johan saying, good morning, Graham. Good morning, Labour Social and attendees. I hope this day finds you well. That's very nice. Thank you very much, Johan. We've got City Life saying morning all. We've got Lynn Pressland, then Gallifreyan Men's there. Hi, Gallifreyan. We've got Sisk and Edge. We've also got Angela, Crystal Bowles, we've got Frank Riley, Peter Carter, Michael Warner, Alex French. We've got the Mustard Dynamo, Pete's Music, Cathal OG, original gangster. We've got Maureen O'Mara, Freckle Puny, Paul Ewan. Hey, anyone else here from last night's mega Tory fest? It wasn't a Tory fest, it was a Tory demolition derby. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was delightful. And Jonathan Gullis got very upset because his party is dying. Oh no, somebody call the paramedics. The Tory party's dying. No, I was joking. Don't really call them. Well, call them in a bit. Then they can wait outside A&E for a day or so on a stretcher in the winter and see how they do. Don't do that saying liked yet. If everyone wants to give a like, that would be great. So, Tories got absolutely demolished last night. Obviously, a lot of the results haven't come through yet. And in fact, I had a look when I woke up this morning at how many councillors Labour had won and the Conservatives. And it was pretty much exactly as it was at 6 o'clock when we signed off last night. This morning, sorry, after pulling an all-nighter. So, we have got Labour on 319 councillors. That's a rise of 52. We've got the Conservatives on 117 councillors. That's minus 122 so far. We're hoping to get the magic number 500 by the time they're all counted. That's the Lib Dems on 114 with another 18 councillors. Independents 65 with another 39 councillors, and Greens on 21 with another 13 candidates, an extra 13 candidates. So everyone, the Lib Dems, Independents, Greens and Labour have been taking seats from the Tories. Important to note that Reform's not really in there because Reform aren't standing in the local elections. They did stand in the Blackpool South election last night, the by-election that was caused by Scott Benton losing his seat for being, how can I put this, corrupt. For being corrupt, literally for selling state secrets to what he thought was a gambling firm, which it wasn't. It was a couple of journalists from the Times, but, Tories aren't that smart, Anyway, they got absolutely demolished in Blackpool South, so much so that the Labour candidate took over 10,000 votes, and the Tories got about 3,000. And the only bit of solace is they got like a couple dozen more than the Reform candidate. Well done. But a few things became very clear quite early on last night. First of all, Refuck is going to be taking every single seat from the Tories pretty much. Not taking them for themselves, but just making it so that the Tories only get half the number of votes that they would normally get. It does very much look like a huge number of Tory voters are going to vote for Reform if they're batshit insane. This is a point that Phil Morehouse often makes. If you want to get people on sides, if the Tories want to get people on side, they need to be moderate, because by trying to appeal to Refuck voters or potential UK Brexit voters, Brexit Party voters, it doesn't work. It just pushes them towards Refuck or towards the Brexit Party, which is the same thing, or UKIP, which is kind of the same thing again. Yeah, it's like, oh yes, we wanted independence, we got that. We got a Brexit, oh, we want that. Now we want to reform the United Kingdom. How do you want to do that? I just want to make the rich people richer and the poor people poorer. We had Richard Tice being interviewed at the Blackpool South count last night. He was there with his Reform candidate, going, "What? He sounds so posh," and he went to a very expensive school. And he's there going, well, it's like, I'm a very good representative, I feel, of the working class. I met a working class person once, a scullery maid. She worked for my uncle until he did things and he had to go to jail. But that's not the point. She was very working class. She was a lovely girl called Shelley. And yes, I met her once for a couple of minutes. That was back in 1982. Remember it like it was yesterday. Nick and Dave wants to know, have you even slept, Graham? Yes, I had approximately 3 hours of wonderful sleep. I've slept from about 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock. And because, I had to brush my teeth. And and then I got up, had a shower, brushed my teeth, made a brew, came here, designed the thumbnail, and got started. I think I did quite well, to be honest with you. I'm glad that all the tech worked, because the tech didn't work, and everyone in the chat here was just going, Graham, your mic's off. That could be pretty bad. Anyway, the Tories lost spectacularly in Blackpool South, a seat that was theirs in the 2019 election. Not theirs anymore. And it looks like that's the way a lot of these places are going to go, including Hartlepool, which voted in the local elections for Labour again. Labour retook Hartlepool, which is good because Hartlepool was very much a Labour safe seat for many, many years until there was a by-election in 2021 and Labour actually lost it. And the Tory won, unfortunately. But that's not going to happen this time in the general election by the looks of things. In the local election, now the Tories will say, well, it's low voter turnout. Yeah, but these are the people who bothered to turn out to a local election. So do you know what? These people are going to turn out to the general election. They are going to turn out. And what we're seeing is, let's say 3 camps of Tory voters who aren't voting Tory anymore. You've got the ones that I mentioned that voting for Reform now. They're on the right wing of the party. You've got people going to Labour directly from the Tories to Labour. Lifelong Tory voter, but after they're done, they can stick it up their bum. I'm voting for Labour now, right? You've got them. There's quite a few of them. And they're very, very useful because don't forget, it's not just like one less vote for the Tories. It's one more vote for Labour. So effectively, it's 2 votes. You're doubling up your voting power. Haha, magic, by leaping from the Tories to Labour. But then there's a third group, which are the stay-at-homes. They're the people who look at what the Tories have done and go, I'm not voting for you. I can't bring myself to vote for Labour. Don't like Reform. But, I'll just stay at home. I just won't vote, which is a choice. It is a choice. It's a choice that I think that we should allow people to make. I disagree with some of my political commentator friends who think that voting should be compulsory. And I understand that urge because to us, politics is very important and it impacts on everyone's life. And we have this romantic idea that if the 1/3 of people who don't bother voting voted, they will definitely vote the wrong way. Wrong! They wouldn't. We see this in Australia all the time. People who don't engage in politics will vote for whoever's name comes first alphabetically or just the most famous person on the list. So the most famous person on the list happens to be someone absolutely horrible like Nigel Farage or George Galloway. They will vote for them because, I recognise that name. Tick. X, whatever. But yeah, so it does. I think that staying at home is a choice. Phil reckons that you should go and spoil the ballot paper. We can discuss that at 1 o'clock on the agenda today. But no, I don't really see that. But here's the thing, right? Blackpool, Hartlepool. What do they have in common apart from their suffix being pool and also seaside town? That they forgot to bomb, come nuclear bombs. It's the fact that they're very Brexity places. And we've seen this all over the country, even in Lincoln. The most Brexity place, Brexit Central, Brexit HQ, the capital of the Gam-Gams, the kingdom of the Gam-Gams. Their capital is in Lincolnshire. And they voted a lot. I mean, I know Lincolnshire County Council didn't necessarily go over to Labour, but a lot of people switched their vote. A lot of people are abandoning Tories in droves who voted for Brexit. They've gone to Reform because they'd see the Tories, they've mucked up Brexit. And this is an excellent line from Refuck because it's all they need to say. And it's the same argument that people used probably to you in parties where they'll say, communism was an excellent idea. It was just never done properly in practice. And you're like, no, if it was a good idea, it could have been done actually in practice. Like putting a person on the moon was a good idea and they actually managed to do it. Making an aeroplane that could fly you to Alicante seems like a good idea and they could actually do it. They actually managed to make that thing happen, which is wonderful. Communism has been tried all over the world, in many different forms of communism, from very extreme to not so extreme, but everywhere it's been tried, it hasn't worked because it fails for the same reason that capitalism fails, because of human greed. We need to rein in in my view, we had to rein in capitalism because left to its own devices, it's just, it's vile. It's wrong. It's very, very bad. But yeah, Brexit is going to jump into that camp now of these people who think, it's a great idea and it would have worked if it wasn't for those pesky kids. No, pesky reality coming up against reality. And what they can do now, refuck, is they can look at the Tories and say, you haven't done it properly. It would have been a glorious Brexit that somehow meant that we would have more trade with the EU, even though we put up trade barriers to the EU, meaning we'd have more food and drink coming in from the EU for cheaper money, even though putting barriers and tariffs and checks on things coming into the UK from the EU is going to necessitate costs. But, they don't care about that, because they've got this ideologically driven idea of this puritanical country that stands on its own 2 feet. And that's a romantic idea, isn't it? Everyone wants to be independent. No one wants to ask for help. Everyone wants to be really proud. But you know what comes before a fall? Pride. And the only pride I'm interested in is the Pride of Lions, because they're kind of cool. And we've got Maureen O'Mara. Thank you very much for the £20 super chat. That is very kind of you. Hi, Graham. Have a private pension annual increase, a whopping £60. Please accept a third for being a hero and staying up all night. Oh, thank you very much, Maureen. That's really generous. That's thank you. No, seriously, thank you. That's really kind. Smiler Sauce. £10 super chat. Thank you very much. Well done, Graham. I feel more positive with the results from Savage Dragon. Thank you, Savage Dragon, for the super chat. That's really kind of you. I feel a lot more positive now. Obviously, there's more results to come in, and the big ones to look for are the mayoral contests. Obviously, if Susan Hall wins London, I'm just leaving. You won't see me. There won't be any later social tomorrow. Well, there isn't one on Saturday, but the Monday morning, you'll be like, where's Graham? And it's just going to be like a film. It's going to be the camera, and it's going to be like a cup of cold coffee, drunk coffee on the table, and you'll be like, where's Graham? Where's Graham? And I'll be like, sorry, I'm out of here. I'm done with this. I'm done with this stupid country. I don't think she's going to get it. But the two mayoral contests to look out for are Ben Houchen, he's a Tory who is very, very corrupt, in my opinion. That's just an opinion. That's what people are saying. People are saying he's very corrupt. People are saying that he sold off £500 million worth of land, public land, for like 20p to his mates. I exaggerate slightly on the 20p, not on the £500 million. £500 million sold to his mates, which has not made an ounce of profit for normal people. This is part of the teasework scandal, which Carol Vorderman has been all over. Private Eye's been all over it as well. The fact there's a good chance that he might get re-elected is heartbreaking, because it just means that people don't know what this guy has done to them. And Tees Valley includes Middlesbrough and Hartlepool, but the Hartlepool local election results seem quite positive. Like, that might mean that people are ganging up to get rid of him. So hopefully there's enough distaste nationally for the Tories, and also enough people know about the corruption that may or may not exist. Totally does, in my opinion, in Tees Valley. And then you've also got Andy Street, who's the mayor of the West Midlands at the moment, Tory mayor, who is distancing himself as best he can from the Conservative Party for obvious reasons. So this gives a total. So watch out for those two. I'm really hoping Labour take them both, but we'll have to see. The other one worth looking out for is the North East mayoral election, in which Kim McGuinness is standing. She should have walked it, because this whole mayoral area encompasses Newcastle and Northumberland and Durham. It's a vast, I think it's the biggest mayoral area in the country. Someone might want to look up that by geography, not necessarily by population. Obviously be London. But yeah, it's a vast swathe of the country. And that would have been fantastic for Kim to win. And she still might. However, Jamie Driscoll, who was the Labour mayor of Newcastle, I think, someone looked that up, he didn't get selected for this role, and he felt he had been muscled out of the party by the people down in London. And as a result, he stood as an independent. And that's going to cleave a lot of votes from Kim McGuinness, because people recognise the name, Jamie Driscoll. And from all accounts, he did a pretty good job. So she might have a bit of an uphill struggle. Anyway, look, getting back to the results last night, this is terrible, terrible news for Sunak, because it's not just that they're doing badly in local elections. This always happens in midterms. Essentially, people want to send a message to the government saying you're not doing a very good job, and the Tories, by anyone's estimation, are not doing a very good job. And no matter how many refugee children they throw into the ocean and sacrifice for their disgusting political arrogance and ambition, it doesn't matter, because that's actually turning people against the Tories more than anything, because they see this big show of performative cruelty that the Tories are doing right now, which isn't actually getting any effects at all. It's not working. It's not working. It's not putting people off coming over here in small boats. Hundreds of people came over this week. So yeah, it's not looking rosy for Sunak for that reason. But yeah, like I say, it's pretty normal that you lose a load of council seats at this point in the electoral cycle. What's not normal is losing all of these Brexit voters. The Tories have lost the Brexit voters, because the people who thought it was a bad idea at the time have now gone, told you so, and they've completely left the Tory party. But also the people who thought it was going to be great and still think that it should have been great, but have been hit in the face by reality because it's horrible. It's a hateful, idiotic policy that was put out into the public domain by horrible, hateful, deceitful toffs who knew damn well that leaving the EU will not impact their rights in any way, shape or form. They would still be able to afford a visa to go and work anywhere in Europe. You can't. I can't. I don't get presenting gigs now in the EU, which I used to get. I used to get, I didn't do loads of them, but every month or so I'd get a request saying, would you come to X place and do a thing about our, bus station, or about our airline, or about, the train station that we've got? Because obviously, at one point, my name was synonymous with travel. In fact, here's a little, this happened. This actually happened, right? This is 2009. So this is before, we had personalised results. Or maybe it wasn't before you had personalised results, but there was a time in 2009 that if you went into YouTube, and anywhere in the world, I was in the Caribbean at the time, and you went in, not signed into an account, so it didn't have your cookies or anything, and just typed the word travel in, my video came up top in YouTube, in the world. Oh my God, if I had been able to capitalize on that. Whoosh! Anyway, but yeah, it used to be all about travel, but now it's all about politics, unfortunately, because I don't really like politics. I know we have a bit of a laugh about it, and it's quite good for satire, but at the same time, politics it just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. It really does. Michael Warner says, thank you very much for the £2 super chat there, Michael. Sunak appears not to have voted. Was he told to hide? Yes. I think so. That's quite an interesting question, because people don't know whether he voted in London for the London mayor to be, Susan Hall, the famous extremist and very, very horrible person. Or did he vote in Richmond, his constituency, where he's supposed to live? Because that's where he's supposed to. That's where his heated pool is. That's where it's in Yorkshire, and it's where he had to get the grid reconfigured to be able to heat his private pool, his swimming pool, because that was his priority. That was his priority in his constituency. He's given bugger all to the people of Richmond. I hope they vote him out. They won't, because there's too many Tories there. But he has given $3 million to an American university, an American college, right, and given hardly anything to his local schools. He gave a £8 bottle of wine for a raffle prize for a primary school in his constituency. Nice. Thank you, Rishi. Thanks for that. He's only worth £700 million. You know, it's a lot of money for him, which is why, I mean, when we get super chats in, like the one we got from Maureen there, I'm just really, really grateful, because this is a lot of money to us. It's not, you know, that the Tories would look at this and go, oh, chicken feed. I mean, we've got people who are in charge of this country. We had the Prime Minister who thought that £250,000 a year was chicken feed, and they want to stop the £71 a year that people getting PIP are getting, because they feel like they should be working instead, because work brings freedom, which I do not believe in any way, shape or form. I think we need to rethink. So we were throwing out some ideas last night. I don't know how many people were watching the stream or were watching this morning. But one of the things I said is James O'Brien's latest book is called How They Broke Britain. I had an idea when he was talking about his book yesterday. I watched an interview with him on Joe, I think it was, filmed in the centre of London. And I thought we should do a book called How to Fix Britain, with ideas in from you and from me and from all the contributors. Throw it all in there of things that we could do to make Britain a better place. And you get different priorities, different people. So if I was talking to Femi, for instance, he'll say proportional representation or voting reform. He will make that his number one. I'll talk to someone else, they might say press reform. We need to do that before voter reform, because if we do it the other way around, then the press are going to go, we're going to tell you who to vote for. And a lot of people who don't really take that much interest in politics will vote for whoever Murdoch tells them to vote for. Murdoch, a man born 100 years ago, 12,000 miles away, who has never been a British citizen, never paid tax in this country, and yet somehow has the power over the heart and soul of like millions of Brits. Millions of us are under the spell of this nasty little non-Nigerian, is that the right word? The 90-odd-year-old Aussie who's not even from this country. And he's, you know, they talk about the woke mind virus. Yeah, nice one. There definitely is some kind of mind virus that goes around that Murdoch and his other evil press barons put out there. Oh wow, Plum Duff has just put £50 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Plum Duff. Oh my god, that is so generous. Thank you. I need to get a new super chat. I need to get a different super chat animation depending on the amount, because that is it doesn't. We should have fireworks going off. We should party poppers popping. Plum Duff says, "Go Maureen, go Labour Social, and F the Tories." Yes, F the effing Tories. I couldn't agree more. And Lynn Preslin, thank you very much for the super chat there. Have half my huge state pension increase, my only income, for keeping me calm. Thank you for all you do. Oh, Lynn, that's so kind. Honestly, I feel bad now. I don't want to be taking people's pensions. This is what you get from the state, which is the lowest state pension in the whole of Europe that we get in this country. We've got NHS where people are dying, waiting to get into the A&E. People are waiting up to 2 years, living in pain, waiting for a knee operation, a hip operation. The Tories have done such a number on all the things that were good. They're doing the same thing that they're doing with the NHS that they did with the railways when railways were nationalised in the 1980s. They ran them down. Well, they ran them down in the 60s to start with because they were competition to the motorways. But then in the 80s, they ran the service down. And now when people talk about renationalising, people go, oh, well, you know how bad the trains were, don't you, when they were nationalised? I mean, they were awful. Yes, they were, because the Tories underfunded them on purpose. But now they're underfunded. Every time we make a journey on the train, like I want to go to Liverpool next week and I can't because there's a strike on, which is fair enough. I don't have a problem with them going on, with the train operators, train staff going on strike for what, the fact that they're not paying conditions. I get that. I understand it entirely. They must be a bit miffed, just like I am, that so much of our money is going to shareholders in other countries or going to subsidize travel in France or Germany or in Netherlands. I get that, why that would get people's noses. But at the same time, even if the train is running, it's like £96 each way now. It's just, I'm just like, how? How is it that much to get to Liverpool? So I'm going to have to take the megabus, which takes like 6 hours. 6 hours is going to take me to get from Durham to Liverpool. I'm going to drive it in 2.5 in my car. If I could take the car, I'd take my car, but Catherine needs it because it's her car. It's not my car. It's not my... It's not my car. This is why I see myself as a millennial, because I don't have a house in this country and I don't have a car. I'm an older millennial. Millennial prime. But yeah, so the Tories love to drive a service down, and this is what they're doing with the NHS. They're driving it down. They're making it not as good as it used to be. So people turn around and go, "Oh, well, it's not that great. Are we really losing anything?" They're pushing people towards private healthcare by saying, "Oh, we can do it privately through the NHS for this public-private partnership nonsense that Labour brought in, unfortunately, or Labour pushed for. I think the Tories might have brought it in first, and Labour went like mad for it, which has ended up costing a lot more money. For instance, if a public-private hospital has been built, they have a contract with the builders to provide the maintenance, but there's no cap on how much they can charge for maintenance. And so there are stories of hospital trusts paying thousands of pounds to change a light bulb. And I don't know how much these stories are exaggerated, but it wouldn't surprise me one little bit if that was the case. And so the Tories are making the NHS look really bad so that they can privatise more and more of it, steal our data, give it to their mate, Peter Thiel, who runs this company called Planetea. Look it up, named after the evil seeing orbs from Lord of the Rings. Yes, I know they didn't start off evil, but in the hands of Sauron, they were evil, and they managed to mess up the mind of both King Theoden and of Saruman. They were evil, and he's named his company after these evil, all-seeing orbs that can see into you. And what this company is doing is taking our data, our medical data, for the NHS, because that's who's got the contract, Planetea. Absolutely disgraceful. Peter Thiel, also one of the founders of GB News, I believe. Someone correct me on that if that's not something he did, but I believe that's what he did. So the Tories have got a definite agenda to make things shit, so that when the people say, "Hey, maybe we should renationalise this, all these sectors," people go, "Oh no, you remember how shit it was?" Yes, because the Tories did that on purpose. The Tories made it bad, but now it looks like their reckoning is coming. It looks like they're going the way of the Dodo, looking like they're going the way of the SDP. And we might not have a Tory party next year if we vote smart, we vote tactically. Because the thing is, we can beat the Tories quite comfortably, just all things being equal. But if we vote tactically, we can annihilate them. And this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can't stress this enough. I had a debate with Femi the other day, which please go and watch it, because he thinks that having a hung parliament would be the best solution to whatever, to the problems that we're facing. And I'm like, no, that would be the worst possible outcome, because in my view, first of all, to engineer a hung parliament, you've got to have people vote Conservative. You've got to encourage people to vote Conservative in certain constituencies. The logistics behind manufacturing a hung parliament are just out of this world. But then you have a situation in which you have to team up with the Lib Dems to get a Labour government in. You are not only beholden to the Lib Dems, but also you're beholden to every single wingnut in your own party, because if any of them vote against you, you don't have the majority. So it's very, very difficult to get anything through. The whole administration will be hamstrung, like we've seen in America with Biden, when they're trying to get stuff through Congress and it's just not going anywhere because the lazy Putinist Republicans just want to block everything. They don't want to do anything. They just want to make people's lives worse and laugh about it on national television. But the idea that Labour get in without a significant majority and hamstrung in everything they want to do, and they don't manage to turn around the economy in the 5 years that they have allocated until the next election, the Tory party will gloop back together like the T1000 and rise from the floor and go after us again. And they'll probably win in 2029 if Keir Starmer and the Labour Party can't turn this around. That's my basic argument. So we going for that kind of outcome is not great. Then you've got the idea of, someone made this point in the chat the other day, if you have a majority of 50 or 250, it doesn't make any difference. Like in terms of what you can actually achieve, or the power that you have necessarily. Don't forget, MPs are voted on a constituency basis, not on a national basis. And so obviously you'd have a lot of good MPs, I hope, because they'll be more people who were more interested in their constituents, people who've gone into politics for the right reasons. If they, in my view, and I know this isn't true across the board, and there are some baddies in Labour in the past and in the present probably, but generally speaking, if you are evil and you want to go into politics just to make money, you'll go to the Tories, won't you? You go to the Tories. You become a Tory MP. That's the reason for you going into politics. It's just to feather your nest. It's just to cut your taxes for yourself and your wealthy chums. That you'll go Tory, wouldn't you? Whereas if you actually care about your community and the people that you will be representing, you're more likely to be a Labour candidate. So I think that's better for the constituency. It'll be a one-off because hopefully by the 2029 election, the electoral election will have the electoral system, the voting system would have changed under Labour, but we'll have to see about that. But then you've also got the fact that if Labour win by 300 seats or something crazy and just absolutely decimate the Tories down to single figures, then that destroys the Tory party. And whatever replaces it can't be more extreme than refuck, because people aren't going to vote for them. People want a centralist right-wing party to be the opposition. That might be the Lib Dems. People might just go in droves to the Lib Dems who set themselves up and say, well, we're slightly centre-right. I mean, they like to see themselves as centre-left. Fine. If we had Labour, which is arguably a bit more left-wing than the Lib Dems, and the Lib Dems are the opposition, bring that on. And you might see in 2029, in that scenario, where the Tories are done for, and all of the Tory voters who are left are like, well, half of them go to the Lib Dems, and maybe half of them go to refuck. But hopefully, if you look at the stats on people who think that torturing refugees is a good thing, throwing them in the water like Ben Habib, the refuck candidate, think that that's a great thing to do. They're in the minority. They're in the vanishing minority in this country, because most people are not psychopaths. Most people have at least a little bit of empathy, and they look at they think child drowning in the channel, bad. That's a bad thing that's happened there. Let's do everything in our power to stop that from happening. Whereas Ben Habib says, no, that's a great thing. I'm glad. Absolutely, let them drown. He said, let them drown. Then he denied saying, let them drown, even though we have the tape. Don't believe the evidence of your eyes and ears, folks. It was their most important rule. Commandment. FM, there we go. Thank you very much to FM for the super chat. It's the last one of the morning, because I'm going to sign off in a moment. Oh, the irony. Bojo didn't have his ID to vote. The one who introduced to suppress voters. Yeah. Oh. I love the Russ in Cheshire, who wrote the brilliant Decade in Tory, and his newer book now, which is Four Chancellors and a Funeral. Well worth a read. It's a bit of it's a big book. So I mean, Decade in Tory is even bigger, but he put like condolences to the satire writers out there. So I'm going to head off now. I would actually. Do you know what I'm going to try and do? I'm going to try and send you over to another video. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh my word. But sorry, I was just about to go to YouTube for a moment, but Robert Larvis has just put £100 into the Super Chat fund. Oh my word. Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert Larvis. Thank you. Wow. Bloody hell. Sorry, I'm a bit floored by that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Plum Duff, and thank you everyone else who's dropped the Super Chat in today. There's not even a message. Robert Larvis, do you want to say anything? You can say anything. I'll say it. If you want me to say words, I will say them for 100 quid. That goes for anyone if you want me to say words. And then you can clip them, and then you can blackmail me with them. But that'll be too late by then, so I don't care. Just thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you. And also, Levi Landlord Bardwell, thank you very much for £10 super chat. Did you see Boris was turned away at this polling station because he had no ID? Yeah, that's probably the news of the day, isn't it? Just like absolutely ridiculous. There was also a guy, a Tory called Dick Cock or something. He had his very silly name. Or was it Punt or Hunt? Tom Hunt. That's the one. Tom Hunt, who was also turned away at the polling station. And also a veteran who had a veteran's card, an army veteran, was turned away with his photo ID because it wasn't down on the list of acceptable IDs, even though it's really, really hard to get a veteran ID. You have to, and it's got your photo on it, obviously, so you'll think, oh, photo ID? That'll definitely work. So I'm going to just try and I'm going to wrap it up in a moment, Rebelaris. I'm sorry, I should really keep going until, because I don't know if you get this, but on my super chats, on the chat here, at the very top, it's got like the super chats, and they have so much time that they spend at the top of the thing, and I think £100 probably going to last an hour, so I'll have to go on for a lot longer. But yeah, I'm going to look for Larry and Paul. Oh, it's broken news, isn't it? If you haven't seen this, in reference to what happened yesterday on LBC when James O'Brien tried to explain what's happened to our friend Sangeeta Maiska. Yeah, broken news. Oh God, what was it? What was it called? Disappearing. Broken news, disappearing. Oh God. Okay, hang on. I love this. You're watching me Google in real time. There's a link. Josh is calling me a machine. You machine, Graham. I woke up at 5:30 and checked in on you. No sign you'd been up all night. I'm still going. But yeah, I've got to show you this video. So, and what I'm hoping to do is put it at the end of this. So if you keep watching with any luck, you should be able to watch this video. So how do we do this? I don't know how to do this. I'm going to read some chats while I'm sort of fiddling with my stream. Waiting on the mayoral elections. Yeah, indeed. Spectacular day for super chats. Happy and sad Tory Friday all. Absolutely. That's a wonderful, wonderful day for super chats. And let's have a look on customization, redirect. Oh, this is nice. Okay, so if I put that in there, no, it won't let me put the URL in. That's ridiculous. Come on, YouTube. I've put the URL. Oh, Larry and Paul, right? It won't let me just put the URL in as the video to take you to after this. Oh, it's because it's only live video. Sorry, I thought you could just pick any video off YouTube and force your viewers to watch it at the end of your video, but it doesn't work like that. Oh, I was getting excited about that. Anyway, listen, we're going to be back at 1 o'clock sorry, look it up yourself. It's actually, here's an idea. Why don't I just put the link in the chat and then you can go find it yourself. Larry and Paul taking the mick out of LBC for disappearing Sangeeta Maiska, and it's a funny video. Watch it after this. I will be back at 1 o'clock with the agenda and Phil Morehouse, and we'll be dissecting the results of the by-election and what it could mean for Labour and the Tories going forward. And then we'll be doing probably a truncated episode of the Labour Social last night because our good friends, some of them stayed till the wee small hours of the morning. Rachel hung in there till 4 a.m. So I don't know if she's going to want to do it all again tonight. But we'll start at 9 o'clock and that'll finish at around 10 or 10:30. And apparently, if you're watching Maximilian's stream tonight, he'll chuck you over to us once he's finished his. So please, by all means, start watching Max at 8:30. What we might do is you start watching Aid Thompson's stream at 7:30. He throws you over to Max at 8:30, and then he throws you over to Labour Social at 9:30. That'd be great. Anyway, so see you all later. Be safe and always stay free. Says Captain Bart Roberts. Couldn't agree more. Be excellent to each other. That's the main rule. Be excellent to each other. Okay, so thank you so much for the super chats. Honestly, really, really, really appreciate it. You keep this channel alive. And you keep me going. Thank you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for being such a great community. I mean, we hardly have to moderate the chat on this channel. And everyone's surprised about that. They're like, you do a politics channel and you don't have to moderate the chat. I'm like, most of the people who comment are nice. And if there isn't, and if a troll turns up, our wonderful mods stamp on it and say, no, we're not having that. We're not having any negativity here. The only negativity we want is towards Conservatives because we want them out. And we want that bright, shining future, Tory-free future. We are going for net zero Tories. We're doing this. We're doing it together. I'll see you at 1 o'clock. Until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.